the Dubbo local government area? Can we turn on our taps full blast and not have to worry about getting water from the shop? What's happened?
Almost. We're getting so close,
What do you mean,
Richard.
almost?
Almost. We've now got, as of yesterday, Sunday, Standpipe Reservoir has now been given the all clear by New South Wales Health, and that filled in that little part of South Dubbo. There was kind of a little part there. The Newtown Reservoir covered most of South, but Standpipe covers just that little extra section in there that was around, say, for example, Taylor Street, Jubilee Street, Hutchins Avenue, down around that area there. So again, if you're not sure, just go on to dubbo.nsw.gov.au/water, and there's a full map there. You can type your address in or you can look at the map. So at the moment now, we've got Rifle Range Road, or Rifle Range Reservoir, that was lifted back on the 18th of July. Burke Hill, 20th, Newtown, 20th, Eulamogo, 22nd, Buninyong, 22nd, and as of yesterday, Standpipe is now being lifted for the bore water
All right,
alert.
so on the other side of the scoring, Matt, what isn't available?
So you've still got a couple of places in Dubbo, so Mile, for example, and Yarrandale, or Mile area, Mile Reservoir. So Mile covers that little part of North Dubbo, say around Macleay Street, just Burke Street, that sort of area. You've got Yarrandale, which goes out towards the Turf Club, and then you've got some of the outer edges, such as Wongarbin, Ballymore, Umundry. So getting there, Richard, very close. Hopefully by the end of this week, that'll be everything done.
Yeah, gee, it's been a long time. It's been a very strange couple of weeks because you and I have talked about the politics involved in all this. I'm going to use this word, but I don't know how we can manipulate it. Matthew Dickerson, are you satisfied with the project, the process of the entire thing?
I think satisfied that we've worked to get a resolution and we've kept the community safe. That's the number one priority here, is the community's been safe. We haven't had an outbreak of crypto, so that's fantastic.
Well, we haven't even tested for it, have we?
Well, we have tested for it, and we've got nothing in our reservoirs, but New South Wales Health didn't accept that as a valid test.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they didn't test for it, did they?
No, they didn't test for it, but we tested for it and we satisfied ourselves there wasn't anything there. I think the main thing to learn, obviously when things happen like this, Richard, you're always trying to work out what you can do better, what you can learn from that. I think the critical thing, in my opinion, from this process is that there needs to be a standardised process from New South Wales Health to come out of a bore water alert. It seems like we were making up the rules as we went along. And at one stage there, I asked to look at the actual spreadsheets that were being used to do all the calculations. And they showed me some spreadsheets and they were in a fairly rough format. They weren't tidied up. And I said, oh, where are the spreadsheets you've been using for all the years you've been doing this? And they said, no, we're creating the spreadsheets as we go. And I went, well, that doesn't sound logical. Surely you've had lots of time to think about this problem. You've had 56 bore water alerts across the state over the last 2.5 years. We're not the first ones that have had to come out of a bore water alert, but it seemed like almost as if we were. So they were creating things along the go. And I've said it with other things, for example, drought, Richard. I think the worst time to resolve the methodology of a solution is when you're in the middle of it. So,
so you're telling me there's no guidebook for this and that it's being written during the course of the whole this thing?
That's exactly what happened in this scenario. The rules are being adapted, and even the dilution level, you've heard myself and you've probably heard Murray talk about it as well, this 0.1% dilution level. And then we put some arguments forward with our consultants and then they changed it to 1% dilution level. Well, that was good. That was a victory for us to make it come out of those bore water alerts earlier. But at the same time, if you can just change it with a swap of a pen from 0.1 to 1%, then how valid was your methodology in the first place? If 0.1% was the correct dilution level, they should have been arguing until the cows came home about that.
All right. If we boil it down there, pardon the expression, because we've used that enough in the last couple of weeks. So what's left then? We've got Wongarbin, that's right, Yarrandale, and we've got Mile.
Mile, and you've also got Ballymore, and you've also got Umundry.
Right.
Yeah. So
and you hope by the end of this week we'll be okay.
I hope so, yes. So we've been doing some work to get the dilution levels at a very low level for some of those reservoirs that then feed down to those further down the line reservoirs. So
go online, and what is it, dubbo.nsw.gov.au/water. It's a bit of a convoluted way to get there. Be patient. You can expand the map, go onto your very street and it'll flash up something. So we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping, Matthew Dickerson, that if we are writing this guidebook now, that this guidebook we had contributed to as co-authors of it with New South Wales Health will stick for the next whatever other boiled water alerts. The other thing I want to get to, you're going to Sydney this morning to deal with this e-scooters. Is there a trial on, is there?
Well, there's a potential trial in Dubbo, and we've talked about it before. In fact, you alerted me to it many months ago. Thank you very much to let me know that there were some...
You're welcome. The check's in the mail, I hope, yes.
So we went and pursued that after you made some comments about that, and we found they were actually doing some trials across different places in the state. We had to apply for that. We did. This stage we're at now is basically looking at some of the e-scooter companies and some of the processes. So Transport for New South Wales have said, anyone that's interested in the trial, please come to Sydney today. And for 3 hours today, we're at Western Sydney Parklands looking at effectively some of the e-scooter companies, some of the processes, some of the rules that will be in place. Now, I know some people in the community are concerned that they'll be run over by e-scooters. Let me just assure the community that this doesn't mean we're going ahead with it. We've got to find out all this information. We've got to put our hand up for it to finally get to the position that if the New South Wales government says, yes, you can do it, that's when we'll then go out to our community and ask them exactly what they think and whether we should go ahead with the trial. But we need to get permission first before we can even get to that stage.
So you're going, I mean, if you don't get involved in the trial today, then you'll kind of be left out of the room, so to speak, won't you? Really?
Yeah, that's right. If you don't, when the government says we've got an expo on, we've got the different providers showing off their equipment, we've got the rules being discussed. If we say, we don't worry about that, we'll wait until you get it finished, then we'll be behind the 8 ball again. So we've got to be there, at least in the discussions, and find out more information. And see, one of my ideas is that rather than have, some people are concerned about being hit by a scooter as they come out of shops, because there was a video that did the rounds a couple of weeks ago where a lady was walking along and just walked out of a shop and an e-scooter collector and she ended up in hospital. So a terrible incident. But I think the beauty that we've got here is we've got the potential to have e-scooters around Track O'Reilly, for example. Now, there are already push bikes that ride around Track O'Reilly faster than an e-scooter would go. People are running, some people I see running out there run faster than an e-scooter would go, and people out there using it for recreation. I think that as a potential trial area would be absolutely fantastic. So I don't think the community would be at risk there. And then who knows, if that goes well, we might look at them in the CBD, but let's start there. And then if they tied in with the zoo, and there's a bit of work, the zoo would have to give permission for them to be out there as well, but that Track O'Reilly link out to the zoo, having guided or unguided tours, I just think that would really add to our tourism offering.
Mate, it's great. You get to Canberra and you can actually you go en masse on these e-scooters. They're very good. And what about quads? What do they call them? Segways.
Segways, yeah. Well, I have actually asked about segways, but I've got no response about segways. But I'm looking forward today to be able to raise that particular issue about segways. The minister will be there, and I'll be able to raise the idea there and see if Duncan Gay, the former minister, see if they start mentioning what I used to talk to him about, which was segways a lot. And he just got to the point where he said, "No, don't talk about segways anymore. I'm sick of talking about segways." So I'll start with the next minister.
Okay, well, I'll better let you get to active. Go online if you want to know about your water. It seems to be getting better and better on dubbo.nsw.gov.au/water, and you can find out that. And we'll see how this expo, if you like, of shared scheme for e-scooters goes today in Sydney. You better get on your plane and go. We'll catch up. Thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, Richard.